was performing as a solo show for a long time, and then I really needed to make it special, and so then I met Matt, and
you were looking for a musician, weren't you, before that?
Well, I was looking for the right person. Yeah. I was looking for a musician or whatever.
But you met me through puppetry, which was cool.
Yeah.
Like, I was in a puppetry company based in the southwest of England, doing a slightly different style of puppetry, but puppetry nonetheless. And when we got chatting, I think we involved you in a show we were doing, and when you discovered that I was a musician as well, it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe Matt's got some time, and also when I saw the show that Matt was performing as a puppeteer, and I was interested in talking to the company he was performing with, Soap Soup, as well as Matt individually, about possible collaborations. So then from that we completely reconstructed this show, Suitcase Circus, the show we've brought here to Zagreb for a new write, and we've performed the show a lot in the UK, and also most recently in Paris, and we've performed it in Berlin and all sorts of places, and also we've developed a new show as well,
which we've only just we performed it for the first time a few weeks ago in Paris, which is really cool. And yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting for us to go from cabaret into kind of more experimental, serious, not serious, but you know, like different style of theatre.
As far as being fringe theatre, I mean, the show is, I mean, my background came from performance art, so and so was producing works that were not, it wasn't even theatre. I wasn't even interested in theatre when I got into puppetry. It's not where I wanted to go. It was more just in the performance with objects. So in that way, it's like that. But the first places I performed were not theatres. Sorry, they were not theatres. They were galleries, which is exactly the same as a theatre, except the gallery is white, the theatre is black. I think the theatre is so interesting because of the amount of control you have on the environment. So, as we have performed the show on the street. We were in Ghent in Belgium performing there, and it does work. But I think for the full experience, it's totally the theatre is where the show belongs, is in a theatre.
Firstly, before we talk about music, is really now an integral part of the show, in the same way that David Letterman, for example, has, I don't know the guy's name, but there's a baldy-headed guy that he sits on the keyboard, and they have this kind of interaction, this banter, and it gives you a kind of fallback guy. You know, it's like a double act now. Even though I don't say anything on stage, it's just really nice to have that dynamic of human and puppet characters that can work off each other. We wanted to keep the music 100% live as well, because of the way the show is, the way that kind of it's not a polished show. It's not like we've kind of perfectly rehearsed every set routine down to the nearest thing. So you can have a CD which will like bang bang bang.
It's flexibility.
It's a flexibility, yeah. So to have this music here, which kind of can, you know, also be a part of this interaction, of this kind of, you know. Because I can't speak back to him, I play the music back to kind of, you know.
The way that I was taught with puppetry, I was like taught puppets are instruments of motion, and so musical instruments are instruments of sound. So live puppetry, it is in essence the same thing as music. As music played live. So this is why they just blend together and they talk to each other. It's like you know, like with the main character and the music, when I'm performing that main character, it's just, there's a flow of the music that just flows along, and because it's not a CD, it's never the same flow, it's always different, it's always responding to what's happening.